Welcome to Jack's Top 10. It is no secret that various species of animals that lived on Earth tens of thousands of years ago became extinct due to human activities and other climate changes. Discover scientists have now been able to create animals with similar, or many similar characteristics, by incorporating fossils in their genes. Today we are going to look back at 10 extinct animals that scientists want to bring back from extinction. I bet you will definitely want to see these creatures alive in the future. Number 10. The moa. Have you ever thought that an animal that became extinct 700 years ago is alive among us again? That is a penny. Scientists have recently assembled the first nuclear genome of an extinct bush moa species that last lived about 700 years ago. Perhaps they will return soon and sooner than you might expect. There are 9 species of moas, all of which are found in New Zealand. The simple fact that they were large, flightless, easy to hunt, and a good source of meat contributed to the occupation of New Zealand by the Polynesians in the 13th century. Hunting relentlessly led to their extinction. Human activity is directly responsible for the extinction of 100 species, making them a prime candidate for recovery. Although this reassembly may not seem like a big deal at first, the genome is a half-draft, but the scientists working on the project say that this is not an easy task, and that it is already a critical moment in the project. As a result of this accomplishment, they are reasonably confident that the remaining 8 species of moa will also be sequenced soon enough. Number 9. The Perennial Ibex. A unique subspecies of the African ibex, the Perennial Ibex is also known by the aragonite and Spanish names Bucardo and Herc and the French name Bouquet. One of the animal species over the last 20 years that went extinct is the Perennial Ibex, a subspecies of the Spanish ibex. The exact reason for the Perennial Ibex's extinction is unknown. Scientists speculate that several factors contributed to its demise, including poaching, disease, and the inability to compete with other domestic and wild ungulates for food and habitat. This species has been attempted to be brought back from the dead since then. In a Spanish lab, a newborn clone of the Perennial Ibex breathed her last breath, marking the species' second extinction. Due to its malformed respiratory system, the clone was destroyed within minutes. It was the first successful extinction attempt by cloning after birth. After this success, you would think it would be easy for scientists to bring back extinct animals. But anyone with an understanding of this will realize that this success rate is very low. Despite the difficulties, scientists are confident that Perennial Ibexes will be able to be reintroduced to the wild. Number 8. The Quagga. Quagga is an extinct subspecies of the plain zebra that lived exclusively in South Africa until it was hunted to extinction by European settlers colonizers in the late 19th century. DNA tests revealed in 1984 that the quagga was actually a subspecies of the plain zebra. They have the same genotype, but observable characteristics differ. In 1987, Rao began the Quagga project in South Africa by selecting plain zebra stocks with a low stripe pattern to create a zebra population like a quagga. The project has had some success. In 1988, the first foal of the project was born. As of early 2006, the 3rd and 4th generation animals from the project looked remarkably like the preserved specimens and depictions of the quagga. In the future, scientists hope that selective breeding will make plain zebras almost identical to the extinct quagga, which could then be released in the wild. Number 7. The Heath Hen. Heath hens are an extinct subspecies of the greater prairie chicken, a large North American bird in the grouse family. It became extinct in 1932. Heath hens were one of the first animal species to receive conscious conservation efforts. Due to intense hunting pressure, the population was rapidly declining. Maybe in the 1840s, but by 1870, all hens were eradicated from the mainland by any means possible. They were a very common bird in the Northeast US, and may have been consumed at the Pilgrims' first Thanksgiving dinner in 1621. There were about 300 left on Martha's Vineyard Island off Massachusetts, but by 1890 this number had dwindled to 120 to 200 birds. As a result, local officials banned hunting and established a preserve to protect the remaining habitat. There was a male animal affectionately known as Booming Ben, but perished in 1932 in spite of conservation efforts. The wide availability of useful DNA makes the heathen a prime candidate for de-extinction, and in truth, we owe it to the heathen to restore it. Stuart Brand and Ryan Phelan founded a conservation group with the purpose of restoring the birds through genetic technology. Brand believes the Heath Hen is well positioned to be the gateway bird for the successful rescue of a variety of endangered birds and extinct species. Number 6. The Gastric brooding frog. The platypus frog, or gastric brooding frog, was an extinct ground-dwelling frog native to Queensland, in eastern Australia. The genus consisted of only 2 species, both of which became extinct in the mid-1980s. Frogs are known to have a unique reproduction method. During the 6-week gestation period, the mother would convert her stomach into a womb, swallow her eggs, refrain from eating, and then give birth through propulsive vomiting. The pathogenic fungi introduced by humans to their native range are speculated to be the reason for the extinction of gastric brooding frogs. Researchers are making progress in bringing the gastric brooding frog back to life with the somatic cell nuclear transfer, a method of cloning. With the Lazarus project named after a biblical character who was brought back to life, the original purpose was to prevent the extinction of these frogs, and they have made tremendous strides in recent years. By implanting a cell nucleus from a dead gastric brooding frog into a live egg from another species of frog, scientists at the University of South Wales and the University of Newcastle attempted to clone the frog in 2013. Number 5. The Oryx. The Oryx, also known as the Ursure, is a species of large wild cattle native to Asia, Europe, and North Africa. Despite being extinct in the wild, including the nominal subspecies, Bos primigenius, domestic cattle are considered subspecies of Oryxes. From about 1,000 years ago until 1627, they roamed Europe. They were about 7 feet tall and weighed about 1,000 kilograms. The ancient Oryxes, which was considered extinct for centuries, may be brought back to life by scientists. Since 2009, researchers have been working to bring back the Oryxes. A European scientific team was working to breed these animals under 2 programs. One is Operation Taurus. The program uses a technique called backbreeding to select 300 calves with Oryx DNA, selecting breeds and characteristics that are similar to those of the original Oryx, in order to get closer to this original appearance and genetic makeup. The second is the Taurus project in Portugal, which seeks to transcend and recreate species. Cave painting depictions of these animals were common among our ancestors, and the 2 projects will revive them. Number 4. The Thylacine. Thylacines are extinct carnivorous marsupials native to Australia and the island territory of New Guinea. Tasmanian tigers and Tasmanian wolves are commonly known as them. It was the largest known carnivorous marsupial in the world prior to its extinction, evolving about 2 million years ago. The last thylacine died in Hobart Zoo in 1936, but the species may have survived into the 1940s. The species was declared extinct in 1982. The species went extinct on the mainland about 3,000 years ago, but survived on Tasmania's southern island until human hunters, who were allegedly trying to preserve livestock, drove it out in the early 20th century. The University of Melbourne's Drive Andrew Pack published a paper in 2008 that detailed how a section of the COL2A1 gene, which controls bone's development, was implanted into mouse embryos, which grew normally. It was the first time DNA from an extinct animal performed its intended function in a living animal, and scientists are hopeful that the thylacine will be brought back to life. Number 3. The saber-toothed tiger. You may not have forgotten the long-toothed tiger in the Ice Age series. This post is about that animal that became extinct thousands of years ago. Saber-toothed cats are extinct predatory mammals that have long, curved canine teeth with a saber-like shape that protrude from their mouths when they are closed. There have been saber-toothed cats almost everywhere in the world from nearly 42 million years ago to 11,000 years ago. On the plus side, saber-toothed tigers are certainly the most attractive candidates for de-extinction. The problem is that, despite the need to recreate, Smilodon has not yet found a suitable way to retrieve DNA. That is, the saber-toothed tiger has no particularly close friends. Number 2. The dodo extinct. Animals like the dodo are among the most famous. Across the Indian Ocean east of Madagascar, on the island of Mauritius, is the extinct flightless bird known as the dodo, which became flightless due to the abundance of food and the relative absence of predators on Mauritius. Since it evolved without natural predators, the humans who arrived in their homeland took advantage of this and killed them all for food. The extinction of this sperm is a natural possibility, but for many years it appeared impossible as no viable genetic material could be found. The situation did however change in 2007. In that year researchers discovered the best preserved skeleton of a dodo, and hoped this amazing specimen would still contain genetic material that other researchers could use. Beth Shapiro, an evolutionary biologist at the University of California, Santa Cruz, announced at the Plant and Animal Genomes 24 conferences that the whole genome of the extinct dodo bird had been sequenced. In light of those results, we hope to see the dodo bird again in the future. Number 1. The woolly mammoth. By far the most popular mammoth remains the woolly mammoth, also known as the northern or Siberian mammoth. The Ice Age herbivores were closely related to Asian elephants, and lived on many northern continents. Their thick fur coat protected against the extreme cold during the winter months. They are believed to have gone extinct about 4,000 years ago, but because they are often found encased in permafrost, they have always been in the middle of extinction discussions. The intact genome of a woolly mammoth can be recovered, and its huge elephant can be cloned back into existence, it would seem. Mammoth DNA appears to prove difficult to obtain, and finding a suitable host for an engineered embryo is also a challenge, the most likely candidate being a female African elephant. Scientists, who hypothesized that the ancient mammoth genes could not have survived, aim to use large pieces of DNA to recreate massive traits in close relatives. For example, Harvard scientists have tended to combine giant and elephant DNA to create an Asian elephant with a giant and thick coat. If extinct animals were brought back to life, which would you choose? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to my channel.